which compliment resonates most with you? If someone gives you a compliment, how do you react, and what's your favourite?
And above all, do you know how to receive a compliment? Or are you the kind of person that will always tend to just push it away and not really and fully absorb the compliment?
Just push it away.
Just push it away. And I mean, compliments are like gifts, but you have to know how to be able to open and enjoy that gift. And a lot of the time, I think we don't. We
Deflect. We deflect our attention away from it, don't we?
Yeah.
We say things like, "Oh, I only got it on sale," or
No,
I'm always good at this. This is just something that comes easy to me."
Yeah, I just repainted that wall, but don't look at it because it's not professional. That's very, very common. So I think that's what we're going to be addressing today, isn't it?
That's what we're chatting about in this week's episode of Get Real with the English Sisters. Mind, health and anxiety. All you anxious people out there, let's say goodbye to anxiety and hello
to well-being and to a calm and peaceful mind, I think, which is something that we all really, really need.
We do need it, don't we?
We do indeed.
We need it like...
we need it like the air we breathe. We need to be able to calm our minds down and
take a deep breath.
Yeah.
And I think that like I was listening to a podcast where people get very angsty on it, don't they? They get very, like, they speak really fast and they're very anxious. And
you mean people in general, in general? Yes, definitely.
It does make oneself feel anxious.
Yes. Well, you mean when you're listening as well? When
you're listening.
Yes.
I mean, our words are so frenetic already.
Yes. So we want to sort of slow the pace down on this kind of podcast, because this is just us having a chat about things that we think are important as human beings, but also as therapists, because it just happens over and over again that we see how people, and women, a lot of our women tend to not be able to receive compliments.
No, because we just say, well, it's natural. It comes naturally to us. Or, oh, no, you look lovely today. Well, yes. It also depends who you get the compliment of, because sometimes it's a compliment that's not really... I don't appreciate it sometimes. Like if I'm talking about work and then someone will give me a compliment on how I look.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
No, because because in a way, especially if it comes from a man.
Yes, it diminishes.
It's diminishing what you're saying. If they say, oh, like here in Italy, they have a constant habit of, the women are always like...
beautiful.
Yes. They're not all beautiful, but it doesn't... We're not talking about beauty or non-beauty, but the women in general are judged a lot on their appearance. I think this is a worldwide thing. It's not just Italy.
Italy. That's all over the place.
All over the place, yeah. What on earth am I saying? You're absolutely right. So that I think that's why, as women, a lot of the times, if we're in a serious conference or we're doing something where we're not expecting to be given a compliment, oh, you look lovely, oh, I love that, you're thinking, look, I'm here, I'm working. You don't necessarily have to say that to me right now. I'm talking about something that's worth, this is why you're saying
it's worth its weight in gold.
Well, yeah, I'm giving you some important information. Please do not just say, oh, you're looking hot today. I mean, it's totally not appropriate.
Absolutely.
Is that what you were referring to?
Well, they don't say that. Would be atrocious if they said you're looking hot today.
Yes, and luckily that's not as bad as it used to be.
Now.
It happens a lot less.
It
nowadays.
used to be it would be like...
Even amongst our younger generation, it happens a lot less.
It does.
Like your daughter, she's very young, and she
says they do. People still do comment a lot.
comment. That's okay. It's like what you were saying. It depends on the context.
Depends on the context. Because if you even if you like make an effort, and you obviously people can see you've made an effort, so it's nice to say, oh, you look very smart today.
Yeah, that's fine.
But it depends on when the compliment's given. If you're actually in the middle of a speech and someone's just thinking, like what you said, you look hot, or you got you know, you're very attractive, or
because it's not the kind of thing that you would say to a man in a conference. That's why it for us it does not, you do not receive it well, because the men, he might be looking really hot, but it's not like the women in the room would come up to him and say, oh, you're looking hot today. You know, no. I mean, or you're looking gorgeous. No,
they probably say, like, I'm really looking forward to what you have to say today to share with the room.
Yes, let's see what you have to bring to this meeting, or wow, your thoughts and ideas on this are great. You know, you don't expect it. I think a man would probably be very surprised if he received a compliment like that. Even, you know, so it's all about context, and most of us know that anyway.
We do know that, but then a lot. So those are the compliments that say maybe are not so well received, because you want a compliment about how professional you are,
because
competent you are.
It's a context.
The context is wrong.
If you're going out with your boyfriend
or with your boyfriend, and they say you look hot, that's a nice. Most people will like that.
Yes, that's what you're looking for. That's what. And we hope that you are able to fully receive that compliment, because a lot of the time, even when our loved ones and our partners say you're looking beautiful or you're looking lovely tonight, you can't fully absorb that, because you get in the way of yourself. You know, you're blocking yourself. You have limiting beliefs.
Have limiting beliefs or low self-esteem as well. Or you might be body conscious, so even if your partner's finding you absolutely tasty and hot as anything, and you're thinking, oh no, I've got a few whatever.
Yes, my hair's not right, I'm overweight, I'm underweight, whatever it is, you are focusing on that. And that is something that I think we all have to learn not to do. And we have to learn to like bite our tongues, so that when somebody gives us a compliment, obviously in the right context, and we know when it's right, we have to learn to quieten ourselves for a few moments. And literally, you know, if you're going to just blurt something out, actually quieten yourself, you know, bite your tongue, keep quiet, and say, I want to absorb this. I will absorb this compliment. And you see it literally like a little box with a gift inside that somebody's giving you with all their love. So wouldn't it be rude just to push that box away and say, no? It's rude as well. So you're going to be able to receive that gift, open it up with all its beautiful paper, and look at it and just absorb it, and just say, what do you say? You just smile and say thank you.
And you take it in.
And you absorb it and really feel that in your heart. Feel it go inside you. Feel that compliment like a pure and genuine gift. And isn't that lovely when you're able to do that?
Well, it's like a warm hug, isn't it?
Yes.
Instead of rejecting a hug.
It's always, most of the time, we push it away.
Yeah, I found myself even saying it the other day. I was diminishing a compliment. I don't even know. Then I thought, no.
Me too. My husband said, oh, I really like you when you've got your natural curly hair. Our hair's really curly. And it was all like wild. And I thought, gosh, I look like this wild woman. And then I come inside and he says, wow, you look gorgeous. And he had this lovely smile, and I thought, don't push it away just because you think you look wild. You know, so I just absorbed it, and
you liked it.
And I liked it, and I gave him a lovely smile back, and I said, thanks.
Yeah.
And I actually consciously thought of it. So now that we're talking about compliments, you know, a lot of the times, even we know this stuff, we have to remind ourselves
Well, I think
I
it's
don't-
like I think
it's more a woman thing, though. To be fair,
the men would love it and gloat in it.
yes, because
Your husband definitely
he
would.
definitely gloats in it. When I tell him he looks lovely, he gloats in it. I don't know exactly though, obviously what's going on though, because a lot of the time
He could just be putting a brave face on, couldn't he?
I don't know. Yeah, I think obviously men have all their own insecurities, same as women, but it is important. I think
they do like to accept the compliments more, though.
yes, they're more used to it. They're more like it.
They haven't got all the baggage that goes with the compliment, like because we have the baggage expectations that we have to be perfect, or we have to be a certain way, or we have to think in a certain way.
Yes,
there's a lot more constraints on us.
Yes,
still today.
Yeah, still today, even at work, a woman to prove herself feels like she has to prove herself more than a man in her same exact position.
Which is
ridiculous. She has the right to be there just as he has the right to be there, and they have the right to be there. So, the world is changing. However, it is still more, I think, that women tend to worry more about these kind of things. So let's learn to receive these compliments and enjoy them to the full, I think.
Yeah.
Let's remember to do that, all of us.
Yeah. And I think a lot of the times people, they're embarrassed themselves, so they might give you a compliment. Here they call it like a reverse compliment. So like when they denigrate you, they say the things that we denigrate are the things we appreciate more.
Yeah, that's a rather odd expression.
I don't like that.
No, I don't like that either. It's like, oh, I tease you because I think you're great. Yeah. So I might say, give me an example of that.
Well, I'm just thinking of like when we wrote our book.
Oh, yeah. We were teased about it.
We were teased about it.
Yeah. Yeah, no. I mean,
and then
you've got to give, our audience some context.
I don't even want to say because it was so horrible.
Oh, yeah. Yes. No, we were teased about it from our family members. Yeah, that is so true. And that's actually quite common though, isn't it?
Yeah.
You achieve something that, that is rather extraordinary, because it was extraordinary for us, and we can give ourselves that compliment.
Well, we definitely do.
We're not writers, we're not authors. We started as therapists, and we decided to start writing books so that we could also express ourselves, and it was a lovely creative journey that we went on. And they were lovely, the books. They were good, and they got published.
Yes.
By a publishing house, and so that was great, and we were jumping up for joy, and yet some of our closest family members weren't giving us the same kind of satisfaction.
Exactly.
Maybe they were feeling excluded.
Yeah, there's always reasons for other people's feelings, but that doesn't mean we can't acknowledge our own feelings.
No.
And accept that sometimes if you receive like a compliment, like a reverse compliment, like they're teasing you about something, sometimes you can just say, well, I'm not accepting that.
Oh, we did say we're not accepting it. I remember it was a big thing, and it had to change. Yes, definitely. And it did change. It did change very, very much. So what you're saying is don't put up with
put up with it.
With kind of like, these are not compliments, are they? They're insults.
But they're like,
Let's
let the cat out of the bag.
Yes. I mean, that wasn't really a compliment. It was kind of like saying, oh, I'm teasing you. Yeah, I know how good you are, but yeah, come on. That's not like a compliment. That happens so much in families where you might get, you might
have close friends as well.
Close friends, very much so. So you're thinking, that's where you have to set the boundaries, I think, and say what you're actually saying is offending me.
Yeah.
So you may think it's a joke. You may just be like, think you're kind of just teasing me because you know me so well and you have the confidence to do this. But in reality, your words are offensive and I do not want to receive these words anymore, so I will not receive them. That's the opposite of what we were saying before with a gift. We can choose not to open them and not to receive them.
Exactly.
And to say, I'm not going to absorb that, I'm not going to receive this. And yeah, I mean, I'm thinking like today that can happen a lot on social media as well. There could be some comments that can be very offensive, and you can decide not to read them and not to receive them.
Exactly. And to block them.
Yes, I guess that's kind of, easier than with family members.
Well, with family, you have to put your foot down.
You have to put your foot down, and you have to set the boundaries and explain.
Just say, I'm not having that.
Yes, and if they love you and respect you, in the end, they will listen to your words, because a lot of the time it's you that have to set your own boundaries for things like this.
I think that's a good point.
Yeah.
You do have to set your own boundaries. And
you
also
will be respected.
With compliments as well about your appearance. If you really don't appreciate people commenting on your appearance,
because it's not the right context.
It's not the right context, or it's not the right time, or it's not the right person. It's like, here in Italy they say, who chi ti conosce, who knows you? Like, who gives you the right to say something to me that you've just met me?
Yes.
So
yes, it's out of place. It's not the right kind of compliment.
Exactly.
So there's a time and a place for these things as well, isn't there? As is there for everything in life.
Yeah.
It's not the right time.
It's not the right.
Not the right moment. You have to read the room, like what you always say. You read the room. What context am I in? Is this the right kind of context to give this kind of compliment, even though you might want to give that compliment?
Well, I think that's when you have to bite your own tongue.
Yes. You have to say, no, hang on a second.
Someone actually did apologise the other day as well, because they gave me a compliment about you. And then, about you being a therapist. And then they actually had to apologise. It was a man. And he had to say, oh, no, sorry, that's not right. I shouldn't have said that.
There you go.
So
because it was out of.
It was nothing to do with therapy.
No. Okay. Yeah.
So it's. I think it can be tricky, because if you love giving compliments, or you're just a person that doesn't really think before you speak,
yes,
you can just blurt it out. But I think you do have to learn to moderate, don't you? Because that can give you anxiety as well. Because I mean, afterwards, this man was mortified, and he was very apologetic, and just realised it was totally out of place, the compliment he'd given. And he was like trying to say, oh, no, sorry, I'm so sorry I said that. I shouldn't have said that. And I said, no worries, but really.
Yeah.
I didn't like it.
No, I know, yes. Yes, these things can happen. No, obviously, I mean, they can happen, and we can understand why they happen, but yeah, you want to be when you're talking about work, or you're talking about, whatever it is. If somebody talks about something that's completely different, you're like, well, where are we? What's this got to do with it?
Yes.
I'm eating a salad, and then somebody says, oh, isn't that steak delicious? It's not a steak. I'm eating salad at the moment. So it's completely out of
context.
It's out of context. So you're not in the right place to understand it, or to be able to appreciate it.
Exactly.
Is that right? I mean, I
think so. Yeah. I don't know. I think you should think, those of you listening should think, what compliments resonate most with you? Which ones do you prefer, or that you really liked? Have you ever received a compliment that really set you alight, that you felt, oh wow, that's made my day? I mean, so many compliments can make your day.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, your daughter said to you that you were a wonderful mother the other day, and lovely. I had a lovely compliment from my son as well, who said, Mum, don't worry, you've done a great job with us. And, you've given us this sturdy, solid background, so we're okay, And I thought, that's such a lovely compliment to receive. And I love that.
Yeah.
You know, because when they're adults and they say, when they're teenagers, you know, you think, oh my goodness. You know, they're like saying, oh, we had trauma when we were children. You know, you shouted at us and this, and they remember all these things, and you think, gosh. Yeah, and then when they finally grow up, they say, no, it was wonderful. We had a lovely childhood. You know, that was lovely.
That's true.
There are some compliments that are great, or we've had compliments from our clients as well who give us the most amazing and
that's the best, aren't they?
best, yes.
Yeah, when you look, I think for us it's when you feel as if you've made a difference to someone else's life because of what you've been able to contribute. That makes us the happiest. That gives us the most satisfaction.
Yes, when they say, "Look, I managed to do this, and I did get on that plane."
They have breakthroughs.
And they were able to fly in every sense of the word. You know, get out of being stuck, break free from the limiting beliefs. Be able to see how wonderful they truly are.
Well, I had a lovely compliment now, not to sing my own praises, because it does sound like you're boasting.
Yeah,
doesn't it?
It does.
It does sound like it.
It does.
But I had a lovely compliment from my children, my grown-up children now, to say how lovely and calm I am as a parent.
That's
like
lovely.
Even as a parent to adult children, they said how lovely, what a calm, you're so lovely,
calming presence,
calm.
yeah.
You know, you're easygoing, everything's okay when you're around, kind of thing, which is really lovely.
Yeah, that's lovely too.
And also that you've always got time for me, because I know that they say that their friends, a lot of their parents aren't available, emotionally available. They're always busy, always looking at their phones or working or doing something. They don't actually stop and like say,
listen.
I'm here.
Yeah. I think that's incredible. That is a real gift, to be emotionally available, like what you said, nowadays, to anybody.
Yeah.
I think just to actually stop
With
and
friends
listen.
as well.
Yeah. I was at the bank the other day. In the bank, what's it called? The bank teller.
Yeah. Well, that's the old-fashioned word.
The old-fashioned word. I mean, this really old-fashioned word is just teller. I mean, the lady behind the desk. She was like touching her forehead, and she had this big frown line. And I said, "Oh, it's been a tough day today." And she said, "Oh, you have no idea." And I said, "Are you perhaps not feeling very well?" And she goes, "I've actually got a really horrible headache."
Yeah.
And just being able to be there emotionally for her, and she was just saying, I can't wait to go on holiday, and I'm really stressed. And I was saying, maybe just take a few deep breaths and, take something if you can. Do you want me to go and get you something? I know sometimes caffeine can help. She was so grateful afterwards, because she really connected. And this is a lady who most of the time does have a frown. And she doesn't look very happy. You know who she is. Yeah, this is a small town. And I thought, maybe she just needs somebody to actually look at her and see her for one moment, besides her being just her job. I'd get this done, get that for me, quick, and she really looked at me, and I got a lovely smile. And now when she phones me up, she always uses my first name and is always really happy. Hello, ciao, Jutka.
Yeah, it does make a difference.
So it makes a difference, yeah.
Well, let us know what your favourite compliment is. And
are you able to receive that compliment fully and truly?
And maybe one day you can just spend a couple of hours just writing down all the compliments you've ever received. And keep them on a little special piece of paper.
A couple of hours.
Well, yeah, because you obviously have to think about it, don't you? They don't just come flooding to you.
No, you're absolutely right. Yeah, you can think about it.
Just, when you're in the garden or in a park, and just, allow your mind to wander.
Yeah.
And then actually, and maybe think about the ones that you've actually sent off on their way and think, no,
To
I'm
other-
going to collect them
Oh
and
yes,
get them
the ones
back.
that you weren't able to open, the ones that you weren't able to receive. Think about them as well. There's so many of them all the time that arrive.
Do you know that I'm just thinking that so many marriages end as well because one of the people
Cannot
isn't able to receive a
Absolute-
compliment, and they deflect them, and the other
So common.
other one gets so frustrated by it.
All the time. Yeah. That happens a lot.
A lot.
They cannot receive it because of their own low self-esteem and because of the blockages, like these walls come up vroom, vroom, automatically. The moment the gift is never opened, the gift is pushed away and never open. It can become so frustrating for the person that's giving you that thing. How many gifts do they have to give you, and how many times do you have to never open that gift? It can become exhausting in the end for the person that's sending it.
Exactly.
It's a message that's never being received, never being opened, never being truly appreciated. Can be very, very tiring. So think about that as well.
Think about that. Write them all down and let us know. And you can also see the video on YouTube where you can see us. And we are therapists. We're here to help. We're also here to have a nice chat with you. That's why we do this podcast. Please do subscribe. Please follow us because it makes a huge difference.
It makes a huge difference. Yes, it does.
For our searchability.
For our podcast to
grow. And now I think we're listened to in more than 101 countries, it said.
Wow.
And hello to Japan because a lot of new listeners there.
Hello.
Bye-bye from the English Sisters. See you next week. Bye.